What's up, everybody? Welcome to the MIKE DOLCE Show. We got a fun one today. We are talking about Joe Rogan and Dr. Rhonda Patrick dismantling Mikhaila Peterson and the lion diet. For those that don't know, Mikhaila Peterson is the daughter of Jordan Peterson, and she came out with her own diet program while having no experience, no background, no education, no business, no credentials, no verified nutrition experts as parts of the program. She just came out with this program she calls the Lion Diet based upon her own anecdotal personal experience. I'm going to share with you right now exactly what Joe Rogan had to say, and it was very pointed, what Dr. Rhonda Patrick had to say, and also I'm going to share my thoughts on the Lion Diet as taken from Mikhaila's very own website. So I want to give some very important information here. Let's jump right in and let's hear what Joe and Dr. Rhonda Patrick had to say about this. One second here. That was my fault. Hold on. There we go. Let me back up here 2 seconds. Bang. There we go.
Sometimes even less, where they're having these benefits. And as you're saying, it's entirely possible that they're setting themselves up for some potential long-term damage.
It is. It's definitely possible. And again, at the end of the day, there's no data. There's no data, so you can't say for sure, right? There's no data, but I have concerns, and we can talk about those concerns for sure. I would like to, but the thing is understanding mechanism, like you said, going in blindly. I mean, you have a hypothesis, and it's like, okay, your hypothesis is all plants are bad.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
And it's like, well, that's a hypothesis, but what about all the other things that are potentially happening while you're doing this diet? You're eating less, you're fasting more, your microbiome's changing, like dramatically changing, and those things all have been known. Multiple studies have shown humans and animals, mechanistic detail, to have benefits on autoimmunity, on aging in general, on brain function. I mean, all sorts of things, so mechanism is so important. You have to realize, I mean, that's the whole basis of science, understanding how the world works around you, understanding how your body works, mechanisms. Like you have hypothesis, and and I understand it's like someone experiences something positive, it's like, well, this must be, this is it, this is the end all be all. But you also have to realize the shit's complicated. You got to understand the mechanism. And you may be doing something long term that potentially, I mean, it really hasn't been studied.
Yes.
So,
well, that was one of I had Jordan's daughter, Mikhaila, on, who's had some pretty dramatic results from this carnivore diet, but she's giving essentially nutrition consulting to people, but she doesn't really have a background in it. And she doesn't have the information that you just distributed. Like what you just said to all these people listening, and the way you're describing the mechanisms and the benefits of fasting and all these different various things that are happening inside your gut and all these different things that are happening with healthy cells and damaged cells with fasting, and that this is mimicked by this restrictive diet, and that this is all absent from the dialogue. This is all absent from and this is one of the things that's disturbing, the most disturbing for me. It's like, I get that they're seeing positive results. I'm not going to deny that they're receiving, but when they start saying, plants are bad, and there's like my friend Chris, he's.
Oh, and then right now he talks about Chris Bell. I'll let this play, then I want to give context.
He's having this. He's also got Chris Bell. He's got autoimmune issues as well. He's had both of his hips replaced before he was 35, and severe arthritis, and he is leaner than he's ever been and benefiting greatly from this carnivore diet. But he's like, he talks about it like he uses hashtag war on carbs, and he doesn't eat salad. He won't eat greens. Like he thinks greens are bad for you. And I'm like, man, not sure that's correct. I think
All right, let me jump in. Let me give some context here and let me chime in on what Joe's saying. Number one, everybody tries to throw Joe Rogan into the carnivore basket. Clearly, you heard from Joe's own mouth. Joe is not a carnivore. Joe does not prescribe to the carnivore diet. Joe does not prescribe to the ketogenic diet. Joe is a fluid eater. He has fun with his food, but he doesn't avoid the bread. He doesn't avoid the pasta. And Joe made the Hulk Loads green smoothie popular years ago, if you remember. So Joe very pointedly calls out Mikhaila Peterson as having no background, no education, no experience, and she doesn't understand the underlying mechanisms that would allow a lion diet, a carnivore diet, a keto diet, an intermittent fasting diet, or any other dietary regimen to be effective. So Joe very clearly calls her out. Dr. Rhonda Patrick goes on to support Joe in saying that. Now, briefly, I want to give you some insight into the lion diet, and this comes from Mikhaila Peterson's own website. And guys, this is scary. This is scary. So Mikhaila effectively wanted to position herself as being different from the carnivore, and this is the FAQ on her page. What's the difference between carnivore diet and lion diet? The carnivore diet has different versions, but it generally includes any food that comes from an animal: meat, seafood, dairy, eggs. These are also people who include coffee, tea, and spices. The lion diet is an elimination diet that includes only ruminant meat such as beef and lamb, salt and water. That's it. You can think of it as a plant-free ketogenic diet. Now, there's a bunch of things here. This part is scary, and this, I believe, is Joe's point. Mikhaila Peterson goes on, and she starts to position herself as a medical professional. She is now diagnosing depression. She starts telling people not to refer to a physician, not to return to a psychiatrist. She starts telling people how to deal with depression, and even further, how the lion diet will cure depression. Let me read this. The question: how long does it take until depression and anxiety begin to subside as a result from following the lion diet? Mikhaila says it depends. If you haven't taken medication, it could subside within the first 6 weeks of the lion diet, sometimes within the first few weeks. If you've taken medications such as SSRIs, it might take a bit longer. It's hard to say with the other less restrictive diets. Sometimes people feel massively better cutting gluten and dairy, but sometimes their depression doesn't change by doing that. Her personal depression began lifting on a very low carb diet after she stopped taking her own psychiatric medication. This is a young lady who is taking psychiatric medicine after she stopped taking her SSRIs, which she had taken for 11 years. She had SSRI withdrawal and was sensitive and depressed with any carbs. The only thing that lessened the neurological damage and withdrawal was was the lion diet, she says. So she's equating the lion diet to alleviating her withdrawal symptoms from powerful SSRIs. She says after 6 weeks, her depression lifted. It took about 5 months for the anxiety to lift, and many people are able to slowly wean off the medication while on the diet. And guys, that is scary as hell right there. That is scary as hell right there. Now, further, how about this? People say the diet isn't working. Why? She goes to blame them. Are you only ingesting ruminant meat, salt, and water? If not, you have to get that for 6 weeks to accurately judge. Make sure you're on the diet for 6 weeks. If your symptoms are mainly in your gut and you can't seem to digest beef properly, it could be a histamine intolerance. What? Or an aged beef fat issue. Aged cuts can be difficult to digest for people. Switch to lamb for a few days. She goes on to talk about cooking. If you still have symptoms, check on your sleep. Wear an Oura ring. If you've checked the above, make sure you're not incredibly stressed out about something. Don't underestimate stress. Do you have a sick family member? If your relationship a problem? If 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not the problem, then you could have an active infection or something promoting inflammation in your body that is not diet related, mold, contaminated water, or a viral bacteria infection, lead, or other toxic compounds. Never once does she say, go see a doctor. Never once does she say, go see a doctor. Every one of these points, she is saying, you have a problem because you're not following the Lion diet properly. Your only problem, the only reason the Lion diet doesn't work is because you're not following the Lion diet properly. That's what she's saying in all of this, which is scary as hell. It is scary as hell. Now, the last thing that I saw here, it was from another podcast. Let me bring this up. And this was just part of research. And this other gentleman brought a point that I thought was worthy of playing for you guys here. So let's just briefly play this and we can listen to
Then
this.
she then convinced her father to start her diet. Soon after starting, Jordan reported that he stopped taking his antidepressants as well. So you've got dad on antidepressants and you've got daughter on antidepressants. These were part of that thread. Throw that in there. Now, this is where I wanted to get to. Okay, it was around this time that Peterson reported not being able to sleep for 25 days straight while experiencing what? An overwhelming sense of impending doom after drinking some apple cider.
But it was
Just physical.
oh Jesus, I was so dead. But
So-
I didn't want to not do it because
Apple cider. Like, what was it doing?
sulfites in it.
What was it doing to you?
Oh, it produced an overwhelming sense of impending doom. And I seriously mean overwhelming. Like there's no way I could have lived like that if that would have lasted for. See, Mikhaila knew by that point that it would probably only last a month. And I was like,
A month.
Yeah, a
from
month.
Fucking cider.
oh, I didn't sleep that month. I didn't sleep for 25 days. I didn't sleep
What?
at all. I didn't sleep at all for 25 days.
How is that possible? That
I'll tell you how it's possible. You lay in bed, frozen in something approximating terror for 8 hours, and then you get up.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, not
And this
good.
is from fucking cider. From cider.
That's what
So let me stop this right now. How crazy is this? How crazy is this? So Jordan Peterson, I believe clinical psychologist, listens to his daughter who's been on psychiatric medicine for 11 years. He listens to her, follows her meat-only diet, ruminant meat diet, which is meat or lamb, water, beef or lamb, water, and salt. He follows that. He listens to her. Clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson gets off his own antidepressant medicine, his own powerful SSRIs. How crazy is this? He gets off it. He immediately starts suffering from extreme anxiety that he misappropriates being responsible because he drank apple cider vinegar. So Jordan blames apple cider vinegar on why he gets thrust to the deep throes of depression and is unable to sleep a wink for 25 straight days. And he then says, well, Mikhaila knew how long this would last. Mikhaila knew how to do this. Mikhaila knew this diet, the Lion diet that he was following, which causation, correlation, he is immediately thrust into deep anxiety and being sleepless for 25 straight days. From what he says, he then claims, well, Mikhaila knew what to do. Do you see how insane this is, guys? Do you see how dangerous this is? This is incredible. Now, I like a lot of what Jordan Peterson talks about, not everything, some things. I have to seriously question Jordan Peterson's intelligence, emotional maturity, his integrity, his honesty. If he, as a clinical psychologist, is taking direction from his unlicensed, unexperienced, unacademic, untested, unproven, unknowing daughter about his own prescription medication. Now, lastly, I have to say, this is a family who is swimming in prescription medicines. Why is Jordan Peterson and Jordan Peterson's daughter taking such powerful antipsychotic or psychiatric drugs? And I might be miscategorizing these drugs. Is that not an issue? Why is Jordan Peterson hooked on these powerful psychiatric medicines? Why is Jordan Peterson's daughter hooked on these powerful psychiatric medicines? Why is Jordan Peterson promoting his unlicensed, uncredentialed daughter's nutrition plan that is telling other people how to cure depression? And Joe Rogan was right to call her out. Joe Rogan was right to call her out. I hadn't seen this clip before. I was doing research, actually, oddly, I was doing research on Paul Saladino and his varied, shady nutrition practices, and this popped up in my feed. And when I went down the rabbit hole a little bit, I realized, holy cow, this is horrible, and I had to share it with you guys here inside our community. What do you think? Please leave comments below this video. Is there any other links? Have you had any experience with the Lion Diet? What do you think about Mikhaila Peterson? What do you think about Dr. Jordan Peterson? Please leave links below. What is your personal experience? Have you? Well, I don't want you to talk about your own SSRI use. I've never used them. I do have friends and associates who have, so you don't have to put yourself out there. But what do you think about Mikhaila Peterson promoting the Lion Diet as a cure to depression and anxiety and as the catalyst to get off of doctor-prescribed prescription drugs, while never once suggesting you go and seek medical help, medical supervision? This is insane. Can't make this up, Daniel Heller. I agree. Yep, Jordan's integrity is certainly in question. Yep, the Paul Saladino video, don't worry, I'm working on that right now. There's a lot of reasons too. She's asking for attention and she's getting it. Yeah, I'll get to the BioLane thing down the road. Lane is like a non-issue in my life, right? I don't care about Lane or what Lane says. Like, Lane is very insignificant in my world. But I'll get there when I have time and I'm bored. I didn't know both take happy pills. I agree. This is buried. This is buried. Why are we not talking about this more? Dr. Jordan Peterson was heavily depressed, in extreme depression. I believe he was hospitalized for extreme depression. Mikhaila Peterson battles depression and anxiety her entire life. They are both hooked on powerful prescription psychiatric medicine, and nobody questions their nutrition conversation, their nutrition prescriptions. No one questions how much, and I believe Mikhaila Peterson was charging, from what I read, $600 for her to write you a Lion Diet program, which basically tells you to eat beef or lamb, water, and salt. She's charging $600 for that, and Jordan Peterson is promoting it. Man, shame on them. Shame on you guys. This is bullshit. What do you guys think? Please leave comments below. Subscribe to this channel if you have not, my friends. I appreciate you guys being here. Give this video a thumbs up. Share this video, though. Your friends, your family, people need to see this type of information. I will only tell you the truth. I only share the most relevant, important information to help you in your life. I appreciate you guys. Until next time. Boom.